listening to Accent on TV. Best of Poland and Europe. Right here on LA Talk Radio.
Hello, Ilana Europa, Lucy Hill, and
Hello.
our amazing guest, which we, of course, will be introducing in a special way. Okay, this is my guest
Yes.
for right now. Andrzej Kozłowski.
Andrzej Kozłowski.
Hey, he said a little bit differently. Andrzej Kozłowski, that's Polish way, okay? But really, American way will be?
Andrzej Kozłowski.
Kozłowski.
Everybody
So-
repeats Kozłowski.
All right. So, just briefly, what do you do, Andre?
Well, I do whatever. God, we all do so much.
We do.
Why Andrzej is here?
But I'm
Yes.
here because of my filmmaking, which, if I really had to describe myself, what I really want to be remembered, I'm a filmmaker.
Okay.
Okay.
Lucy Hill.
Okay.
Lucy Hill, I need to give you a very special introduction also. And you
Oh.
have your own guest.
Yes,
which
absolutely.
After this 50
Yes,
minutes, she'll
yes,
be my guest
yes.
also. And maybe I will
Thank
be
you.
sharing Andrzej with you a little bit.
Okay. Oh.
Okay.
All right.
Before his wife comes, because we will meet your wife soon.
all right.
Okay?
But it's
Okay,
not
Basia.
that kind of show, Elena.
Yeah, I know. You know what? That's a live show. We are
Yes,
on
it is a live
LA
show.
Talk Radio.
We never know.
Name of the show
Yes.
is Accent on TV, the best of Poland and Europe. Okay.
Yes.
Then Lucy Hill, you are
Yes.
my co-host, you are my host, you are my friend, you are my
Aw.
friend and friend and friend. And you had your own show.
We did.
Yes, for
Yeah.
3 years, I think, on LA Talk Radio.
Actually, 4, yeah. Every week. Hill and Dale. I was the Hill. Sharon was the Dale. And and it was an environmental show. So it was very scientific.
Very cool.
We learned a lot. We had a lot of fun. Spoke to a lot of amazing people.
And like I mentioned 2 shows before, because that's our first month
Yeah.
for Accent on TV, the best of Poland and Europe. You are the reason why I am on the radio, and I always will repeat this until you are bored with this information. But you know, good friend will
Yeah.
take your hand and will lead you sometimes when you are afraid to go. And just that's what my Lucy gives to me. She
Aw.
showed me this world, and I just don't want to leave this
But
world. I love it.
Right, but you had a voice. You needed a voice.
Yeah.
You needed to express yourself.
And that is what I do. I'm sorry for my funky accent. I'm sorry for my funky English. I am not guilty of that. I was not born here, and I didn't
Shouldn't
go
be
to.
sorry. You should be proud of it.
Oh, okay. I'm very proud of what I don't know, and
Yes,
thank you so
yes,
much for
yeah.
loving me.
Yeah.
And I would like to say that hour before we had Accent on radio show, which Andrzej Kozłowski was my guest,
Yes.
and he was already describing in details what is his project about. But right now we can see him.
Yes, we can.
Everybody can see me, Lucy,
Right.
and your wonderful
So,
guest. Please.
Seda, tell us about yourself, your name, a little bit about yourself.
My name is Seda Wali Muhammad, and I think part of the reason why Lucy invited me was I always ask myself this question: what is in a name? When we hear a name, what does that really mean now? So when you hear a name like mine, you think, well, certainly from the Middle East,
Yes.
certainly of Muslim background. So now I'm going to tell you a little bit about who I actually am. My father was a Muslim. My mother was a Hindu. I was sent to English Catholic boarding school.
Oh boy, you
for
got a
all of my
problems,
life.
woman. How can I help you?
My late husband was Jewish Anglo-German.
gosh.
So that kind of gives you an idea.
But really, you are Polish. No,
I would exactly,
you are
exactly,
Polish.
exactly. Well, I have a joke to tell you guys later on, which is
Thank
about.
you. Be nice to me.
No, actually, it is about British food, and
Oh, we
having
like
gone
that.
to boarding school there, we were asked. But the joke was, well, why aren't there any English cookbooks in England? And the punchline was because they're sold as science fiction in Poland. On that note,
Lucy, now we are married together. You know, that joke that got us together
Yes.
is the best of Poland and Europe. Thank you so much. How we spell your name?
it's S like Sam, A as in Angela, a double E as in Edward, D as in David, and A as in Angela.
And
Yeah.
Seda sounds more British than British, doesn't
Say
she?
that. Like you say, when we
Yes.
listen to your name, we right away know what we really didn't, because you
No.
are so unusually connecting so many cultures that I don't even know what is your upbringing, and scares me
Well,
to listen to it about that.
It really is in a way that both of
New
you
movie
would
for you. Okay.
understand. You know, both of
Really?
you would understand.
Oh, no, really?
What India experienced in terms of the British colonial experience was
Yes.
very similar to what Poland had gone through under
Yeah.
the Austro-Hungarian Empire, the Habsburgs, then of course later on through the two world wars. And so, you know, that sort of a mix of a lot of history with a lot of external history coming at it is really
What a deep culture. I love your culture. I had a pleasure and have a pleasure to develop two young singers with deep roots in India.
Really?
Both parents are from India. And Shitanya, that's my beautiful, talented singer, 12 years old girl. Her new album, Picture Perfect, is right now on iTunes. Raju Ivaturi, Shitanya and Raju Ivaturi. Raju Ivaturi is 16 years old brother of Shitanya. He's a singer also. And what can I say? I love the food.
Yes.
I love the culture. I love the
Love the
people.
food.
I love the music.
course.
And I am
course.
in love with everything what India brings. Now you give me the good and bad.
Absolutely.
Is it bad or something bad?
Absolutely. Sure.
Okay, start from good or bad, whatever you want. Lucy, is this okay?
It's fine.
How
Hey,
long you
have
know
a-
each other?
You know, since September, but
year,
you know, there are
Since
some people
September.
you meet and you feel like you've known them forever.
Yes.
Seda is one of those.
Okay. From September, which means September.
From September, so what? 9 months,
9
something like
months,
that.
Right.
Not
What-
9
what ma-
months equals forever.
Forever.
But
How
you
did
see,
you
I
meet?
wanted
How
to-
did you meet?
I
I
wanted
need to
to
know.
say just
Yeah.
one thing, which is it's basically a commonality of culture.
Yeah.
It's,
Oh,
it's,
because you were
it's-
raised in India.
Yeah.
That's right.
Okay.
that's
So
right.
we speak the same
speak the-
language. So it's like she says something and I'm like, yeah, totally get it.
You got
And
an
then I would
accent.
say to her, Lucy, this is the first time in 40 years in Los Angeles anybody's understood what I've actually said.
Look at the accent.
Yeah.
How royal both
Yes.
of you are.
Yes. Well,
Okay.
Seda actually is. Her family, she's been very modest, but her parents were basically aristocrats. I mean, yeah.
Well,
No, really. They were. I mean, I've seen
Beautiful.
pictures. There are pictures.
Where are they now?
oh, they've passed away. But you know, I
Yes.
always tell Lucy it's an
Yeah.
accident of fate that you're
Yes.
born into one family and not into another. So
Yeah.
I've
Okay.
Because, of
always-
course, India has the caste system.
Cast.
Right.
Yeah.
And Seda's right up there at the top of the top. So,
To
yeah.
tell us about your life, because I
Yeah.
know it's something that's very interesting that we need to share with our listeners
You know,
and
if people were to
watchers and
say
public.
Yeah.
what, for example, was the experience of my generation in terms of how soon after the British had left
Yeah.
was there an impact on our lives. I was born in 1957, and in 47 is when the partition of India had taken place. It had been under the British for about 200 years, but the province that I came from was a province that was one of the last to be controlled by the British. And so I'm going to use another Eastern European reference. Lucy, there's a wonderful book by Jaroslav Hasek called The Good Soldier Schweik.
Everyone in Poland knows that book.
Absolutely.
And you see,
Very funny.
when you're a
Right.
creature of empire
Yeah.
and bureaucracy,
Yeah.
Schweik is actually belongs to one army, but he basically has to pretend. We don't know if he's stupid or if
A
he's
genius.
genuinely a genius,
Yeah.
right? But the beauty of it is that he somehow manages to find a Russian uniform. He puts himself into a uniform, that uniform, and his own regiment ends up basically capturing him. So that's
Oh.
sort of a
I
bit
see.
of what empire
Right,
So
right.
it's
feels
a
like.
really nice
So-
introduction
yes,
to your life.
yes,
Then let's
yes,
go deeper.
yes.
Then how old you were when you really understood that you are in England, but really you bring so much of India.
Well, you see, both my father and my adopted dad, after my father had passed, were some of the first Indians that had studied in the UK, and this was in 1922.
Yeah.
And so my father had been one of the first Indian graduates of Merton College, Oxford.
Oh, wow.
And so
Yeah, they're a
they
bright
had
bunch.
come
Wow.
away
Yes.
with a very different idea of what it meant to be an Indian. And so if you were to say, well, how positive or how good was that experience in terms of the British, I'd have to say it depended on the class you came from
Rather great.
and the milieu that
Yeah.
you came from. And
Yeah.
so for my family's personal experience was one of being mentored by a lot of British people. And so between that and who
And
we
your
were,
past and your
it was
culture. The best.
I don't have a bad opinion of the Brits.
You
That's
don't.
lovely.
You don't. I was when I met you. I expected you
Okay.
to do that because everybody does.
But I'll
It's like
share.
Americans and French people, yes? Somehow
Yes,
something.
right.
That's right.
Yeah.
But I'll share
Yeah,
a
yeah,
joke that
yeah.
used to be
Okay.
said in my father's time, and that was, why was the sun never going to set on the British Empire? And the punchline was because God never trusted the British with the lights on.
That is true.
Then what are you doing? What are you doing in LA? And how long you are here?
Well, I
Yeah.
was an academic for a very, very long time.
Academic, and we want to know more.
I was director of international programs at a couple
What?
of universities.
Which one?
And then, well, Orange Coast College. I was an associate director at UCLA.
Oh, mama.
Also at a place called Woodbury University.
And in Boston too.
And in
Oh.
Boston at
Yeah.
Suffolk University and
Yeah.
University of Massachusetts, Boston.
Right.
I'm so proud of you.
So
No,
Okay,
no.
can
it's
I
a-
be proud
it's a
mother?
big deal.
Okay,
You can
but-
be a proud mom. I-
Because you tell,
Yes.
you tell why I'm proud, mom, and being next to your friend who is so well educated.
Yes.
And we all know
Yes.
that education is something that
It's
is
key.
the most important in life.
Right.
Then, yeah, thank you, Natasha and
Because
Miraya. She just-
Natashka has just graduated from USC. Yay!
Wow.
Well done.
But we love
Yes.
UCLA also. We
Absolutely,
almost bought her
absolutely.
cake that had these two colors, and she was like in Costco.
It's
like
a
cake.
great
Like, oh, mama, but it's a
yeah.
bit- they didn't have the
Yeah.
colors from USC.
Yeah. Oh,
She
they.
did-
So
okay.
she was going to settle for UCLA.
She didn't buy it.
She didn't. Okay.
She said,
no,
"Mama,
no,
there will
no.
be pictures everywhere, and
Exactly,
they
right.
confuse people so
exactly.
much."
Right.
I have not.
there
she
might be
loves
a
the
little
store.
riot at the party.
You never
what I
know,
mean?
okay.
What's this, UCLA cake? I mean, that's-
Okay, then you are
Yeah.
very, very
Yes.
well educated lady. You are here practically for 20, 30, how long?
Actually 44 years now.
40.
Yeah.
Then you are really an American.
No,
huh?
no. I mean, well, you are. You've got
Yeah.
what? 3 passports.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
Pretty good.
Uh-oh,
Yes.
3
So-
passports.
Yes,
And you
yes,
can
yes.
travel freely right now. What a great
Yeah.
world.
Yeah.
And Jacob, do you remember our how many passports we had if they gave us even one sometimes?
Well, it was very hard. It
Yeah.
was funny, especially in communist time, because usually when there was a time it was so hard to get passports,
Yes.
all the consulates, British including, they were very easy giving visas. As soon as it was easy to get passports, it was so hard to get visas. And, it's,
But fact is that we couldn't leave the
yeah,
country
that
easily.
It was
We were lucky because I think you were an artist and I was an artist that we had the right to tour.
So you
all-
could leave.
I
you,
had a
you had a
special-
special exit
Yeah.
visa.
When
I
I was-
didn't. I was. My story is a little bit different. I went. I left when it was possible to leave for students, but it was just the martial law ended sort of eased up in 85, 86, and I left. But I worked throughout martial law in Poland since 1981 underground as a printing illegal press.
Did you? Did you know Lech Walesa?
No. And you will know that, I'm proud of Lech Wałęsa, but everyone who has any connection to any kind of movement will know that,
Yeah.
once you reach certain status and the danger is not that big for you. The danger lays on little
Right.
soldiers
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
they
true.
get their backs beaten and
Right.
And I think it was the
faces
actual
kicked and
miners
stuff
in
like that.
Gdansk at that point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I never will
The
forget
actual-
this day when we had our Solidarity War began.
Yeah.
And I was singing beautiful place in the mountain. We had a lot of singers, and everybody after show we went to the hotel. It was like 10 or 11 at night. I start watching TV, and I saw this gentleman with glasses.
Yeah.
Our
Jaruzelski.
president, yes, Jaruzelski.
Oh,
and I still
right.
didn't understand
Oh,
because it
really?
was like just
Yeah.
quiet, and just he announced that we have this war or whatever you call this, that
Martial
from
law.
martial
Yeah.
law, a war, and I'm like, what does this mean? And then I saw people running from the stairs because there was a beautiful place in Poland, but many different countries were vacationing there. Then people with luggages. I'm like, still, what's going on? What's going on? You know, and people were going down. The luggage was on a wall, like many luggages. I'm like, what's going on? You know, and in the morning they knocked to our doors and they said, okay, we will get you all artists to Warsaw, to Krakow, Katowice, wherever we went from, with special cars. And that's what they did to us. Nobody talked, nobody needs. They say, okay, everybody to their cars. We were driving, and I saw army, and it was so cold because always it was winter, and you know, fires in the middle of the streets everywhere, and the poor Polish
Just like
soldiers.
the movies.
Like just, God,
Well,
really, when you see the movies,
Yeah.
Polish movies, this
Yeah.
really happened.
Really.
You know, and
Yeah.
I was yesterday. I was a star, whatever you say, beautiful girl singing in a show where people were enjoying. 10, 15 hours later, I was petrified. I was driven by car, and they unloaded me in my home without anything, and just world changed.
Yes.
Everything changed, stopped.
Was that
Yeah.
in the early 80s?
No, it was December 81. It was the
81,
first
yeah,
time in
yeah.
history of Polish history that army turned against its own people. So that was the big crime against Jaruzelski. But you have to understand that all these years, the year from the summer of 1980 till the December 81, all the surrounding communist countries were so afraid of Poland, like it was some kind of freedom was kind of
Right.
disease.
Right.
I remember a student. I lived in a student dorm not far away from railway station, and the trains going from Soviet Union to East Germany and back, they had windows painted white. Like people could not even see the trees in free country, you know. That it was abstract and absurd.
And the
Like
weirdest
in-
things in my life was that 5 months before I won this big festival for army songs. That we would love that. It's in Co-Object. Every year we
yeah.
had this amazing festival. And it was so beautiful national
Yeah.
festival. We loved it. The songs, army songs are very happy and like just upbeat.
Right,
and I
right.
won
Yeah.
this festival.
Yeah.
And I had an award that allowed me to travel and sing for army people, which was the most beautiful things ever that I thought I would be doing, just giving, you know,
Kind of
nice,
entertaining the troops.
entertaining the troops,
Yeah.
okay. But 6
Yeah.
months later, I was ordered to do that too because I
Ooh.
had no choice, okay.
Oh.
And not like I didn't want to, because still, my gosh, they were young Polish
Sure.
guys, you know,
Yeah.
the wonderful people. They had also no choice.
Yeah,
But I'm telling
yeah.
you, I was so young, and I barely had a child, and I was just straight from finishing music academy, also in Poland, and I put on a road with these gorgeous awards, and life was like began for me, and life already ended in a way how I wanted and I thought it would be, and started something very, very serious in my 20s. I still love my country. I love my country so much, and then, like I said, many years later, 20-something years later, I just
When
came
did
to
you
America.
leave? When were you able to leave? Or
I had
or
never
just-
problem to leave my country because I was an artist. They gave us special
So,
visa.
yeah, so you
then
could
I
just
could
come and
travel.
go.
And I got one of the first artists who just got permission to sing abroad in Germany for 6 months. Then I was able to feed my family. I was able to send packages through all this, martial law problems. Then I think I was lucky. Then I still felt like I was the chosen one that had easy and had a passport. And then, of course, I went for another tour to America, and that's how I met my
And that's it. Right.
husband. And 20 years later, I'm
Right.
here, loving America, loving both countries,
Yes.
meeting wonderful
That's right.
people.
Yes.
And that's what is Accent on TV, the best of Poland
Oh.
and Europe.
So we were gabbing in there with another guest from another show. So I didn't hear your history, Andres. So can you tell us a bit about you and your films?
Films is a big stretch. It's just one film that I'm trying to make. It's a feature-length film. Before I did some shorts. I came here as a political refugee, and it's interesting because in order to get a passport, I had to, because I was still a student, I had to get permission. I was getting my years. I was becoming older, and the army was afraid that they're not gonna get me. So when I applied for passport, they also had to provide permission from army that they are okay with me leaving the country.
Wow.
And it was very interesting. That's like in a movie, because I went to this scary office. It was KGB version of Poland. They were giving passports. And the guy saw me and looked at me and says, well, I don't have your passport yet, but if you come in the afternoon, it might be there. So I went in the afternoon, and he says, all right, I got it. And then he go through this rant about, remember, you're going to be abroad, you have to represent Poland and communist country with dignity and never do anything too bad and everything. So I say, oh, yes, I swear, and so on. And he gave me a passport, and I'm leaving, and I know I was not supposed to be there because I didn't had this little paper from the army yet.
Oh.
And I got the passport, and I have it in my hand, and I'm at the door, and he goes, you gave me all the paperwork and the permit and everything. And I said, oh, yeah. And I'm leaving. And I swear to you, I'm going home all shaky. And
because he could have called you back at any time.
Yeah. And what I find in my mailbox, refusal from the army to give me the permission.
Goodness.
And so, and a week later, I was going to Denmark, and I remember till today.
Wow.
I go through the customs from these guys checking passports, everything, almost like sifting through luggage and everything, and I see people walking up the stairs on that ferry. And I thought, will I ever be on these stairs?
Yeah.
And I remember that when, believe me or not, when I went on the stairs, I made point of remember every step because I knew this.
That was your stairway to freedom.
Freedom, yes, but also I didn't know if I don't want to go back. But the thing is that what we did is. I hate politics. So when the solidarity was strong and everything, it didn't matter to me. However, suddenly, martial law struck, and suddenly they were killing people on the street. They would grab a student who would have illegal press in his backpack, and so special units of police like ZOMO would be vicious, would beat these people to death. And suddenly, all these people who were so active, they were not there.
And you were gone by then, right?
But no, I wasn't.
You were still there.
That's why
Okay.
that's what happened. It's like that was year 91. I left in 86, and took me a year to come here. But so we basically what we did with friends, unexpected. You always find that people in unexpected circumstances. People who you think they're gonna be tough, they are not tough, and others suddenly are heroes. And I have my heroes, and we did things that I thought was just so utterly stupid.
The heroes, stupid heroes.
We broke in. I mean,
Like you said.
it's a it's a police hour. I mean, after I think 8 or 9 o'clock.
Like a curfew.
Curfew.
Yes,
You're not supposed to be on the street.
Right.
We broke into a place. We stole equivalent of copy machine, but it was size of
Huge.
half of this table.
right.
And we carried it to design car and went back to student dorm. That was completely, it beats
Crazy.
me how that was possible that no one saw us, no one shot us, nothing.
Right.
Next day, we had to drive the damn thing out of Warsaw. And here we are driving out,
Police everywhere.
and at the border of city border, they are checking cars, and we have this thing in the trunk.
It's like a body in the trunk, but
exactly.
it's a printer.
It never occurred to me that they will check us.
And they didn't?
and they didn't.
See, because you
It
were
just
so
something-
oblivious.
We had no idea how bad it was. I mean, those were days
I
that
see.
that people
Yeah.
they were killing young people.
But that's
Right.
what I
For
think
things
people
like
don't
that.
understand, that one
Right.
day you are free, one day you just
Yeah.
think everything is just normal, and in 1 second, like in your country, everything turns upside down. And how can you adjust your brain to just thinking what is legal, what is not legal?
Yeah.
Is this person friend? Is this person enemy? Is this something that can
You
hurt
don't-
me in the
you don't
future?
trust
Will they like
anybody.
you? Yeah.
You shouldn't.
And then you have
really.
your family. God, thank you for. I think in Poland we have pretty close families. Then you could rely sometimes. Oh, yeah, I know where you are going with this.
No,
Some
and
part of family was shared too.
No, no,
That
no.
was-
Thank God we're not like East Germans, where
Yeah.
we know
Right.
that
You
they
was-
were
they were
the
separated.
wives were talking,
Yeah.
denouncing their husbands, and the other
Right.
way around.
Right.
Poland was
Okay.
never like that.
This started being so accent on politics that I know that we're supposed to talk about
yes,
your
yes,
movie.
Oh, your movie. That's right.
And I know that we're supposed to talk about your life. Okay, I will give a lady a little bit time.
I'm
Yes.
sorry.
I love my
No,
topic.
no,
I
no.
think
For me, that's fascinating.
I
Hearing
hope for
about
people who watch us,
Yeah.
they like the
I
story.
just had
Yeah.
a question.
Yeah.
Yes.
When a system like communism has been around and it has then a certain power, was there a point, for example, I recall, for example, when Ceausescu and his wife were called in front of that tribunal.
Correct.
There was a sense on the part of the Ceausescus that they were in fact still in charge when they
Yes.
weren't. So when power collapses, is there sort of this disorientation that happens where
I think till this day, still
you-
older generation doesn't
you
understand
see
what's happened.
exactly, exactly.
I think it's much more. I mean, I guess it's for scholars to know these things, but I don't know if anyone knows. But I think in case of Poland, and take first country that had some change in Middle East was Tunisia.
Yeah,
Why was
that's
it
right.
Tunisia? Tunisia is the most per capita educated country, in contrast to their means of life. That was exactly the case in Poland. Poland had general education that America or any other Western country will never have. I mean, to graduate in my class from geography, you had to know all the countries in the world and point to their capital quickly.
Yeah. All the
It
Polish
was
people I've ever
insane.
met are so incredibly smart. Just
Well, it's not
generally.
that, but what I'm saying is that
yeah.
it's a difference
Very
of what you
educated.
can do
Yes.
with life and how much you know about life.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Poland also had tradition of loving freedom. I mean, Poland did not exist for 120 years, but the love for freedom was always there. And
I find it interesting that even the national anthem says, "Poland, we are not lost."
Yes.
After so many years.
Yes.
I love
Yeah.
you. Thank you,
yeah.
Lucy.
My
I
goodness.
love her.
I love history.
I
so
know.
that's my
You see,
big,
but history is so interesting. But I think young people do not like too much learning. They
Yes.
don't
Yeah.
have
You
time.
see, we are, in fact, in America, one of the strangest cultures. We use history in a derogatory way. We'll say to somebody, "Oh, so-and-so is history."
Yes.
That's so
that's
true.
Right. It's like,
That's so
yeah,
true.
forget it.
Forget it,
Yes.
You see
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, and in
Yeah.
most other
Yeah.
cultures, you
Yeah.
don't get history. Schopenhauer tells you, if you
Yeah.
keep forget it, it'll keep hitting you in the
Yeah.
in the head, so to speak.
Yeah.
So.
I want to know your life. Okay, then 40-something years ago, you moved to America, yes? Alone with family?
Actually, I had a brother who was the second international student at UCLA in 1959.
Oh, wow! Okay, the first I was in England and Oxford.
And
Oxford and now-
so, yes, and I asked him, I said, "Well, why UCLA?" And he said, I applied to Princeton, Harvard, Yale, and this little school in California
wow.
accepted me. This little school.
Yeah.
I was like,
What
"All
he was
right."
studying?
When he studied medicine.
He's a
went-
doctor,
Is
right?
he a
Yeah,
doctor
he's
right
just-
now?
yeah.
So
In
it
LA
was
still?
In LA, yeah.
Hi!
And so it's
Hi! Plastic surgeon? No? I love you.
so there was a history of going outside of where we come from to study. My parents were convinced that, you know, if you did go abroad, the stupidest thing you could do was to hang around with your own people. Because they would say, well, then you might as well
Why
just
you
have stayed in
stay
New
in your
Delhi, right?
country.
Why did you leave, right? That was the... So I think family influences makes a difference. But all in all, it's been an interesting... you know,
How big is your family? Because it seems like brother, you.
Well, actually, I have 3 brothers. My maternal grandfather was a Kashmiri Hindu,
Okay.
and a Brahmin can only marry once.
Yeah.
So and of course he was not just a Brahmin, he was of those 4 classes of Brahmins that are the very top of the Brahmins. So there's,
Yes.
I mean, talk about
This is a
Imagine.
woman. Now,
Yeah.
to put it in perspective, this is a woman who went to school with Benazir Bhutto,
Wow.
who was assassinated,
Yes.
right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Her sister
Yeah.
Sanam and I were
Yeah.
classmates,
Yeah.
and I know Benazir as Pinky.
Pinky
Bhutto.
was her name. Yeah.
And so, but getting back to what we were talking about, you know, the impact of history on a people. At this point, given how everything is so multicultural, I mean, here we are in an LA with the history going back to the Mexicans.
Yeah.
We have 2 British people here,
Polish
somebody from
person.
Poland,
Polish
somebody
person.
from America. You know,
Very
this-
heavy accent Americans have. I don't understand.
Yes, of course. You do have accents, people. Okay.
Well, you know, there's a joke about it, and that is, if you speak 3 languages, you're trilingual, and if you speak 2 languages, you're bilingual. And what do you call somebody who speaks just 1 language badly? And the answer is an American.
Oh, we made enemies right now. Oh, I'm so sorry.
But that's okay.
I still learn. Okay.
Although I will tell you one story. I was in Norway on my way here, and we just wanted to. I mean, still the epitome of freedom was America.
Yeah.
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 And
Absolutely.
all the connections of telephone was so expensive, but we work in this architecture office and we stayed late and we dialed. We found a number to California, just the number, and we dialed. And some woman answered this wonderful Californian accent,
right.
and she just made our day because he thought, oh, we
Exactly.
heard
Sound of
America.
freedom.
Yeah.
That was fantastic.
Yeah.
And
I just said hello, whatever. But,
Right.
Whatever.
But it was enough to make us. We didn't speak English, so it just.
Right.
Oh,
you know
so
what
just to
it
hear the
was
sound.
was
It's
it
not
was,
easy
sound.
It was the mystique
Yeah.
Yeah.
of California.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that has
Movies, westerns,
certain
and all the
cachet that-
rich people
The
that we were
westerns.
watching the
Still love the
movies.
westerns.
We were lucky in Poland because most of good movies we could watch in our country. Somehow, somewhere they made onto our screens. And we just...
On television, yeah.
On television, yeah. Then I
Yeah.
think the same with music. And we could listen to all what was going.
No, well,
Free
just-
Europe, the radio.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Europe.
yeah.
Oh, Radio
Free Europe,
Right,
Radio
right.
Free Europe,
Radio
and
Free
Radio
Europe.
America.
Yes.
That's
I
right.
feel like we're
Voice of
insiders
America,
and
Voice
people
of
are
America.
Voice of America,
outsiders.
sorry, yes, you're
Welcome
right.
to our crazy life, okay? Because that's what really is Americans' life. Like you said,
Yes.
America is one of the most beautiful countries in the world
It's
because
stunning.
we all can smile and laugh and do our what we
And you
do
see
and
also-
dream.
Yeah.
I think America is not burdened with history the way other places are.
Yes.
And
Well,
when you're
ex-
not burdened
Well,
by
except if you're in
history-
the Northeast.
Right.
And you're
Yeah.
English,
That's
and you're
right.
constantly told, "Get out." Well, and then and then you fight back, and then everybody loves you, and you love everybody. But first of all,
You have to
Yes.
fight your way
Are
through.
you
You do.
visiting your country? Are you visiting India?
I plan on going back next year.
Then when last time did you go there?
Last I was there was 2010.
Okay, that's not bad.
Yeah, and I'm going to take Miss Lucy back with me as
Oh,
well.
that's so
Aw.
good.
Because what we want to do is go to Benares. It's Varanasi now, which is where the Buddha got his
he
enlightenment.
sat underneath the Bodhi
And
tree.
That's right. And then you can see some of the historic places where the Buddha actually lived.
Aw.
So yes. So
I don't want to say I was in Mongolia. And
Were
one
you?
thing- yes, singing.
Ulaanbaatar or
Yes, Ulaanbaatar. I was singing. I was the only one from many people around the world who came to sing for the show that they asked me to sing in Mongolian language.
Huh.
And everybody said no. I had no idea when I said yes how hard the language is.
Is that the throat singing?
It's like-
No,
Yes.
God, thank you. They didn't ask me to do
Yeah.
these things. No, that was somebody else was doing. But I was just asked to sing some pop song. But I remember a little bit. Another bitni by ring of door, min Mendelssohn odor. Okay, but that's not
Well,
only that. Very nice song.
Actually, that's a great
Wow.
segue. Just finish what you're saying, then we need to play some of your song.
Oh,
Okay. We need to do
but
that.
funny was
Okay.
that I had no idea what I
Yeah.
was saying, and I was opening the show because it was like 20 different artists from all around the country, and then slowly people were going crazy because some Polish lady was singing in Mongolian. That they were moving me. Eventually, I was ending the show because I had so many
Well,
one more
they-
time.
You
They loved
also
it.
could pass as somebody Russian.
Yeah.
So to
Yeah, but
to-
don't say that.
If
That's
they're-
okay.
guys-
That's
You
okay.
no. I meant because
My daddy
Central
was
Asia-
from Russia.
See,
Yeah.
Central
Yeah.
Asia was part of the
Right.
former Soviet
Yes.
Union, so
Yeah.
there would be great familiarity with somebody Slavic looking.
You are right,
Very
but
much so.
but they learned this language was really weird.
Catherine the Great said the best way to protect my borders is to constantly expand them.
Yeah.
So
We have Mr. Potemkin to thank.
You are amazing. Gosh.
all right, so we're gonna
we
play-
have
okay.
we have two songs,
Yes.
two MP3s that are tightly tight with a really topic of our conversation with Andrzej. Andrzej, we have like 15 minutes before
Yeah.
show is over,
Right.
but we still didn't even start talking about what is your movie about.
movie, yeah.
And then maybe let's start from this violin. Little, do you see MP3 that says violin?
Yep.
And let's play like 30 seconds of it, and we will explain. Andrzej will explain why the music and what is this the movie about.
Okay.
And then we'll play the saxophone
Okay,
solo.
I'm not going to turn the mics off, so,
No,
okay? All
little,
right, so
30
here we
seconds.
go. Wow.
Beautiful.
That is so
Krzeszimir
haunting.
Dembski,
Well, that-
one of the most known
yeah,
violinists
that
in
was
Poland.
Krzeszimir Dembski, who is now very sought after music composer. But before he was just a jazz violinist, and he was constantly listed as one of 10 top jazz violinists in the world. And I was there, and he recorded it for a scene in the movie that I'm making.
You know,
Just like that.
it
No money
almost-
involved.
Could you explain us really very fast, like we say,
Yeah.
because time running up, but tell us a story, short story, and why it's so unusual, and people find this fascinating.
I'm going to repeat something from what I said on the
Yes,
radio.
of course.
Truman Capote wanted to write a book that would change how people read books. I wanted to make a movie that will change how people watch movies. And one of the ways to do it was to make a movie that would explore silent moments, facial expressions, body movements. Everything is it's the essence of everything that is ever being said. And this 100 minutes of the movie has no word at all.
Interesting.
And it's a very simple story, but because it is like that, it is becoming profound. It's like all these small ambiguities add themselves, and suddenly you have the effect of a iceberg. You see only the tip, and you don't know why it's scary and profound. You just feel there is so much below.
Underneath, yeah.
And and movie works that way. Are we going to play Namysłowski a little
Yes,
bit?
we will play.
There is one. The movie has its pace, and it's moving, and
Yeah.
basically it's the kind of movie that
Is it made? Have you finished it?
we're getting there.
Okay.
but it's getting
9
very
years
close.
in the making.
Whoa.
Why 9 years in the making? Because
Well, there were there were things. I mean, there was no money involved ever in making this film.
Amazing.
So that's so hard. It was all people donated their services and stuff. But also, in the meantime, my daughter was sick. I'm constantly out of work and stuff. It's just life.
It was hard.
Sure.
Yeah.
But the movie basically has its progression. You watch it, and you want to find out what's next, and then has this what I call quiet island, quiet hall in the movie, where it's 5.5 minutes of a guy on a locked camera, goes, prays for 5 minutes, and leaves.
Wow.
And that was that's like a showstopper. And then movie comes back, and it's being fast again, and that was always meant as a showcase for wonderful musician. And that musician agreed to do that, and his name is Zbigniew Namysłowski. He's a guy whose record I was waiting. Willis Conover called him one of the greatest alt saxophonists of all time and a giant. And like I said, I met him. And I said, Mr. Namysłowski, I was on a work party with red carpet. I talked with Meryl Streep. It did nothing to me. And now my knees are shaking.
Do you know who I heard when I heard that music?
Oh, that was
Gorecki.
Gurecki too.
Gorecki.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
And
I love
especially
you. Are you from
that
my town,
movement.
Katowice?
Third Symphony.
I was
No.
studying with his daughter
Because
in music academy.
that piece of his was so
Yeah.
amazing.
I just
It is,
love
it's the
Accent
highest-
On. What a beautiful group of people.
Well, you impressed me so much.
No, no,
I want to
she's-
say that.
yeah.
You know,
Incredibly.
Wow.
She's incredibly impressive.
You
Yeah,
are.
just period.
You're
Yes, yes,
stealing
yes.
the show. Okay.
should we just pack up and go? And it's just
Yeah. Bye. My DJ. Okay. Love it. Very, very good. Okay, then let's
Yes,
listen
let's play
because
the sax.
we need to say it's 5
yes.
minutes long.
Yeah.
One of the longest solo jazz.
possibly, to my knowledge, it's the longest a cappella solo ever recorded for jazz.
But we
Okay.
want all of you
For
to
alt
hear the
saxophone.
sound of
Okay.
Zbigniew Namysłowski, sound of
Okay,
him
here we
playing on
go.
the saxophone.
Incredible.
You
And
wanna
it gets better with every listening. I mean, it's just.
Yes, just getting a little bit.
And it takes guts and knowledge. I mean, musicians typically, when they have their little 5 minutes of fame or something important to show, it's so tempting to play fast, and he can do that.
Which he does after
But-
2-3 minutes. You know,
but
we played a little bit
It's
longer.
harder
just
to play
going
slowly.
It's much harder.
It is much
soulful,
harder.
more soulful.
But
It's okay to play loud.
You are playing via
the
cello.
Cello.
Yeah, but
Okay.
but I'm learning. No, that's not. Learning is not. We're actually playing Game of Thrones, the theme to Game of Thrones.
Okay, you need to bring your cello one day, and we'll be playing live.
I don't think.
Okay.
So. Well,
I'll be
yeah,
singing.
okay.
Yeah. By the way,
everybody can
Namysłowski
do
also
something.
plays cello.
Really?
Yeah, he actually.
He's brilliant.
On his second record or third record, first was recorded for Decca actually. The British got
Oh,
crazy about
yes,
him when
yes.
he was the first band that played in England, and they went completely crazy, and Decca recorded his record.
Huh.
And on his second record in Poland, he plays all instruments, and that's considered second most important jazz record of all time. and his other record is considered third. And the first one is Astigmatic by Komeda, who composed all the music for Polanski. And Namysłowski also plays on that first record too.
So we have only about 4 minutes
I know.
left. So
okay,
yes,
then let's wrap it
Yes,
up.
we
Our
need to
beautiful
wrap it up.
in a nice bowl. Okay, do you need money still?
Yes.
For the film, of course. We all
the
need
time,
money,
all
but
the
for
time.
your beautiful project. How close, what do you think? Takes a year, 6 months, 8 months? It's all about money? Do you need vocals? Hey, I can sing for you. What do you need? What do we
almost,
how can we help?
I mean, it seems when I went there, it all comes with jumps and leaps, nothing going on. You go through so many cul-de-sacs and broken promises and stuff. And at the end of the day, you work so hard and have nothing to show for. And suddenly a beautiful day comes and you didn't work that hard and
Things
you have
happen.
something to show
Yes,
for.
yes.
And
Right,
so
right.
when I went to Poland, I recorded Namysłowski, Dębski. I needed helicopter shots. I got them. I needed to record Foley. Foley is being recorded. I met wonderful award with many awards. Sound designer who's cutting the whole sound and prepping for mix. So really what's left, I still have one expensive 3D visual effect, and Hold the Music, which now Namysłowski considers composing. Wow. That, I'm telling you. And so there is money to be needed.
If somebody wants to contact you, obviously link is on my Facebook on our Accent on TV, The Best of Poland in Europe. Then please just find Andrzej Kozłowski there. Yes,
I have
you are
email
prepared.
here.
Oh, right.
A44kozlowski@yahoo.com.
That's very smart.
Yes.
I like what you do. Okay,
Yes.
please, my
Okay.
beautiful friend. I don't
Seda.
even know what to say and how to say bye to you.
Yeah.
Seda, tell us how we can end this show, because we said so little and so much. You overwhelm us with your brain and beautiful, sense of humor. You're very cultured. You're a wonderful friend with Lucy. Lucy will go with you to India. Obviously, then you will come back and talk what was
Right.
when you're going.
Next year, right?
Next year.
We
the
still
plan.
have time to make
Yes,
more
that's
friendships.
right, yes.
Then, for right now, your day looks how your day looks like.
Really good.
Well,
really,
we're
really good.
transitioning.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
transitioning right
Oh,
now.
that's a funky
Okay.
word right now.
I know.
The
That's a very
transitioning.
California word, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay.
Lucy and I
Yes.
have a little endeavor.
We have a project.
that we are working on, and it involves food.
Oh, that's the business that I would say. Where is the store with the English food? And you say, there's no food. It's a business.
Well,
And so there'll be a little bit of chocolate involved. There'll be some biscuits.
Quite a lot of
involved,
baked beans.
Quite a bit of. That's right. That's right. So we are. What we've realized is that working for yourself isn't always easy, as you well know, with
It's
making
very
this film,
difficult.
doing this.
It's
But
interesting.
there
Yes.
is a very similar pattern going on where
right. Fits and starts.
fits and
right?
starts, lots of
Yes.
promises, broken promises.
yes.
But if you
Yes.
start distributing European music to Americans,
Yes.
if you want to distribute the films,
Well,
if you
that
want
would be-
unusual
that
project,
would be
we
another
can
that
do
would
that.
be a whole other
Yes.
field.
That would be another
That's
field,
right.
and I would love to do that.
And it's
but right now
7:50.
we have to
and
go.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Accent on. Till next Monday.
You're listening to Accent on TV. Best of Poland and Europe. Right here on LA Talk Radio.